Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work out to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with a family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is Whomping a Bully with a Wiffle Bat, with David and Gretchen taking a look at the North Korean threat, as well as our own domestic terrorists, George Soros and Michael Bloomberg. Next, we'll take a look at a Marine Corps veteran who was told by the state of Michigan he has to make a choice between owning his firearms and becoming a guardian to his young grandson. And wait until you hear about the University of Kansas professor who's so afraid of guns, he's wearing a flak vest to class. Finally, at least one uber-liberal admits you can't fault Trump for doing what he promised during the campaign. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
When I was probably 13 or 14, there was this big kid who was just plain mean. We called him the Beast, and he bullied all the rest of us, pushed kids around, called us names, and would occasionally demand we give him some of our money. Everyone dreaded Jim, for fear we'd play dodgeball or some other game where the Beast would use far more physical force than necessary. There was no one big enough, tough enough, or brave enough, for that matter, to take on the Beast. To make matters worse, the Beast, like all supersized sociopaths, was dumb as a box of rocks. Whenever called upon in class, no matter how simple the question, the Beast always failed to rise to even the lowest of expectations. We would always laugh at him, then pay for it later on the playground. The one thing the Beast did excel at was gym. To him, every game was a blood sport, including checkers. One day, during a flag football game in gym, the Beast sent several of us flying in various directions. He was carrying the football and hit us like bowling pins. Later, as we were trying to carve out splints from a nearby tree to treat the walking wounded, we came to a group consensus. The Beast had to go down. There was much discussion on, well, how we could shoot him from the top of the school as he came up the sidewalk in the morning. Another plan was to sneak in and sit behind him in a movie and knife him from behind. My personal favorite was to run him over with a car. There wasn't much consensus on exactly how we would obtain the necessary tools of his demise until one walking wounded hit upon the perfect weapon, a wiffle bat. A wiffle bat was a plastic bat used to hit a wiffle ball, which was a round plastic ball full of holes. It was as undangerous as one could get and still play baseball. It was also the perfect weapon to use on the Beast and use it, actually them, We did, one afternoon as he was walking home from school. 5 of us stashed wiffle bats before school, ran to the location after school, and when the beast walked by, we took him to the woodshed and beat the living bejesus out of him. Now, we had agreed that, we might get a detention if we killed him, so we limited it to his back and legs. But, brothers and sisters, it ended the reign of terror. The beast never again bullied any of us, which brings me to the point. Earlier today, Defense Secretary Jim Mad Dog Mattis warned North Korea the U.S. was prepared to respond to any hostile act to us or any of our territories with a, quote, massive military response, unquote. In case you've been catching up on reruns of Murphy, Brown, and missed it, North Korea has now conducted its 6th nuclear weapons test, this time detonating a hydrogen bomb capable of being launched by a missile. This does not bode well when in the hands of a raving sociopath, a reality that did not escape Mad Dog or the Don. In his characteristically soft-spoken manner, Mattis told the press, and I quote, "We made clear that we have the ability to defend ourselves and our allies, South Korea and Japan, from any attack, and our commitments among the allies are ironclad. Any threat to the United States or its territories, including Guam, or our allies, will be met with a massive military response. A response both effective and overwhelming," unquote. Then he added, almost nonchalantly, we're not looking at the total annihilation of a country, namely North Korea, but as I said, we have many options to do so. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And he quietly walked away from the podium. I love this guy. I really do. To be clear, the U.S. has the capability of putting a bomb through a window of a building. Mattis isn't beating his chest in a game of one-upsmanship. He wasn't even making a threat. He was simply stating a fact. I'd take it one step further. How about we put a Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile without any warhead of any kind down Kim Jong-un's chimney? You know, he gets up in the morning and there's an ICBM stuck nose down in his living room. You see, Kim is today's version of the Beast, and an unarmed Minuteman III is the wiffle bat. I say go for it, and take the bulbous sociopath to the woodshed. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
You thought you might get a detention, huh?
Well, you never know.
For murder.
When you're 13,
For murder one.
I don't think we thought.
Not last time I checked.
Yeah, I don't think we thought in those terms,
Clearly you did not. You did not have law and order back then.
No, but if you're 13 or 14, are you going to come across a gun or a knife or anything? I mean, there was no way. It was talk, but we did beat the snot out of him. But a wiffle bat is not like a baseball bat.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it hurt, I'm sure.
He might have had some welts on his skin, but that's probably it.
I'm sure he had welts. But the point was, and I don't think it was even the fact that we beat on him. I think it was the fact that we ganged up on him. And he knew that there's no way he could take on a gang of us.
And I think, he was probably surprised and disappointed that somebody got over on him.
Yeah. But it stopped. And I just think, if you put an intercontinental ballistic missile, no warhead, just like put it through his window. Mm-hmm. He gets up in the morning, he's in his living room. There's a clear message there. You know what I'm saying?
It would be kind of funny.
I think it'd be hysterical.
We need to put a video camera on it too, so that we can get his reaction.
We can look to see if his hair.
As I told my neighbor in my yard this afternoon, that right there is Facebook gold.
Did you know? I was reading up about North Korea. Did you know that they have approved haircuts?
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
They do. They have a book. There are more hairstyles for women than there are haircut types for men.
Oh, you mean for the general population?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant for the guys we see on TV, like the generals.
Oh, well, they have one too. But no.
You're talking about everybody.
There is a book of approved haircuts, and you can do time. I kid you not, if you don't have a proper haircut. You ought to read up on this country. I ran across a bunch of information on the internet and about somebody who came from there. And they're really screwed.
Wow.
And of course, the not interesting thing, but the thing that's saddest is the people don't. I mean, there's no internet, There's no
Right.
outside influence. There's
Right.
2 television stations that are tightly government controlled.
Right.
It's all propaganda. They don't know it. They know no better. They think the world is what they know.
Right.
Which what we need to do is a Gaddafi. Remember that? They took out, and unfortunately,
Well, I'm not sure about
Gaddafi
which
wasn't in his
specific
residence.
incident
Well-
you're talking about.
Well, it was a constant nightmare, and unfortunately, he wasn't in the house. They got bad intelligence, I guess. They took out his house, his palace, or whatever it was. That was it. Nothing else. Killed several family members, and he was not in it. But after that, you didn't hear from him again. He just went off the radar. That ended it. And I mean, basically, they can surgically take this guy.
Oh
out.
yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, but I just thought I love watching Mattis. He's just very calm,
Yeah.
very soft spoken.
Yeah.
You
He
know?
really, and kind of intellectual. You
Yeah,
know.
and
Both effective and overwhelming.
yeah, and we can totally obliterate your country.
Yeah.
Not bragging, just pointing that out.
Just, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Just speaking of North Korea, there was a general, I assume he was a general of some kind, sitting around a conference room table in a photograph I saw on the news yesterday.
Is this Korean?
And
North
I
Korean?
think so. I think that's what he was. But I don't know. Do they wear green uniforms? Because he was wearing
Dark.
he was wearing a green uniform, and the hat that he had on was so big. He looked like a cartoon character.
It's North Korean. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked like
it's a
a
big
cart-
saucer cap
Well, right. I mean, it looks like some of our military hats, only like
on steroids.
quadruple in
That's the
size.
one.
Yeah. I mean, he literally looked like a cartoon character. I'm like,
Yeah.
who thought that was like authoritative or
Yeah.
imposing? I want to know, because actually it makes him look ridiculous.
And have you seen most of those generals have this?
Yeah, they're like badges. You said.
Yeah, all this stuff they're covered in them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I wonder if the ones in the Korean Navy have that. I mean, if they fell over, well, straight down. Yeah.
Sink like an anvil.
Right to the bottom.
I don't know, but I found that to be rather humorous.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you have to kind of feel sorry even for them. I mean, they're warriors, but
Oh, yeah,
they must look at
absolutely.
this guy and go, "This is really bad."
Right. I mean, they don't want to have to listen to him.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to be back. Soros, my favorite topic. We're going to talk about Soros when we return, and a bunch of people want to see him claimed a terrorist. All that more when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use my editor, Creative Business Services, and go to print with confidence. That's my editor at mail.com or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
So, I'm just old enough to remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Ronald Reagan talking about developing Star Wars.
Right.
And, you know, for anyone younger than me, it was a missile defense system. It was, if somebody fires a nuclear missile at us, we can shoot it out of the sky and destroy it before it makes landfall anywhere, before it actually does any damage. And we did it Wednesday.
We did. But in all fairness, it has not been a overwhelming success. That was a successful one.
I was going to say, it worked on Wednesday.
It did. It did. It did. But previous ones were not as fortunate.
So we launched, from the Pacific Missile Range facility, we launched a medium-range ballistic missile. And
out of a frigate.
The USS John Paul Jones shot it down.
It did indeed. It did indeed. Yeah, there's a whole class, I think they're frigates, that they're outfitting for that. Here's the thing. Even if they get one by, it's going to go really bad for them. I mean, there's no way they don't. They're going to have one,
right?
5. We have enough to actually end life on Earth, which is not a desired outcome.
And not only that, but our country is so much bigger than their country.
Yeah.
I mean, in order to take us out, you need like a lot. We only need 1 or 2 to take them out.
And right now, apparently, they can't get past California, which I say, let's wait for it. You know?
Yeah, I say, you know what?
If ever there was a reason to not be preemptive, that's it.
It's a crying freaking shame, but California's just going to have to take one for the team.
Why am I laughing? I think it's serious. I think that's a great idea.
You're laughing because I hit the nail on the head.
When I read that this is a couple months ago, that right now, at that time, they had the capacity to get as far as California, I thought, really? Make a donation?
Yeah. Like, somebody go poke the bear.
Yeah, really. Yeah. I like the idea. You know, they're rattling sabers. They just flew one over Japan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a flyby, literally.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be hysterical to put one in his living room. It certainly would have an effect. There's no doubt about that. You probably wouldn't. No, never mind.
I say it might not be the desired effect is the only problem.
Fat slob. So anyway, having said that, what else can I tell you? Give us a call, 815-205-1584. You can do some talking because for 2 days now, I've been losing my voice. What you gave me the other day did, in fact, help.
See, I told
but
you.
it doesn't last very long.
It's what singers do. Well, yeah, you got to keep doing it until it works.
Yeah. The problem is it's tea. And if I kept doing it, I couldn't drive anywhere.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are some things with drinking tea. For one thing, yeah, you have to go to the bathroom a lot, and then, like, eventually they come and take away your man card.
And there's that. unless you're British, and then they've never had man cards.
And then you start buying cats.
Yeah, they haven't had man cards since World War II. World War II, they had man cards, and they gave them up. Yeah, that's it. So anyway, my favorite subject, George Soros. There's a White House petition. And I didn't know that there's a number that you can go and start a petition. But there has to be
you go on whitehouse.gov and you can start a petition.
Like be kind to fleas or something, yeah. But you got to have
That's random.
You got 100,000. I think fleas are pretty random, yeah. You have to have 100,000 signatures, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and they've got about 63,000 or so like that. But here's what it is.
In negative 2.5 weeks.
In negative.
We're not sure exactly when this was started, because this article says September 19th of this year, which hasn't happened yet.
Here's the thing. It's Freedom Outpost. They have the freedom to say whatever they want.
Yeah.
And they're really at an outpost.
They have freedom of speech, but that is called shoddy proofreading and fact-checking. That's what that is.
Notice there is no ads or no articles about movies where the actors really did it. Okay? That's not on here anywhere.
Well, Freedom Outpost is legit, but their fact-checking leaves something to be desired. That's all I'm saying.
They need an editor.
That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, they want to designate George Soros as a terrorist and see, now this is the good part, seize all his related organization assets under RICO and NCAA laws. The petition, I think it's worth reading, because this is one of my favorite subjects. The petition says, whereas George Soros has willfully and on an ongoing basis attempted to destabilize and otherwise commit acts of sedition against the United States and its citizens, something that we've said many times on this show,
yes,
has created and funded dozens and probably hundreds of discrete organizations whose sole purpose is to apply Alinsky model terrorist tactics to facilitate the collapse of the system and constitutional government of the United States, and has developed unhealthy and undue influence over the entire Democratic Party and a large portion of the U.S. federal government. The DOJ should immediately declare George Soros and all of his organizations and staff members to be domestic terrorists and have all of his personal and organizational wealth and assets seized under civil asset forfeiture law. To me, that just makes clear sense.
Okay, so I found it.
Found what?
The petition.
Oh.
It was created on August 20th of this year, so they didn't get any part of that date right, except
Got
for
2017.
2017.
That was good.
And they actually are over 100,000 now. They have 126,987. So,
Well, this article is 2 days old.
well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But all that actually means
done.
is that the White House then formally recognizes it. Doesn't mean the White House is going to do anything about it.
No, but it means that they now have to look at it.
Yeah, but I would
An
find
interesting thing is that the one right next to it is Donald Trump resign as president of the United States in violation of the Emoluments Clause and release your tax returns, and they have 136,000 signatures. I just find it interesting.
I find
There's a lot of interesting things on here. Let American farmers grow hemp once again to create jobs and rebuild the
let's
rural
go back
economy.
to Soros for just a moment.
Okay.
I find it probably difficult to believe that Donald Trump is not given thought to George Soros.
Oh, no, I'm sure he's well aware.
I just have this, because you know what? Dang. Technically, it is, he would fall under RICO because he's very clearly, it's organized. I mean, he's drawing in hundreds of people, paying them, although I was very surprised to see in that same article, he was paying $16 for people to go out and agitate, and where was it?
Again, I'm not sure about that. Chicago.
Was that the Chicago one?
Yeah, the Chicago one at the university. Yeah. I'm not buying it. I think it's another fact-checking mistake.
This guy is like Teflon. You know, there was a $10 billion lawsuit on him earlier this year for Africa. It was Africa, wasn't it? It was a small nation in Africa that he was.
Guinea.
That's a disparaging name for an Italian. Here's the thing.
If I want to insult you, I'll call you a dago.
That's real nice. My people didn't go through Ellis Island. We had family here. We came to. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. Here's some of the things that Soros has done, and when you read this, it seems like it's clear. He's given billions of dollars to left-wing causes. Acorn, remember Acorn from 2 elections ago? Apollo Alliance, National Council of La Raza, which is Hispanic. Huffington Post. There's a real shocker.
SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
That's another one.
They're like the current, they're like the a-holes du jour as far as I'm concerned. Because they're calling organizations like Illinois Family Institute, they're calling them
terrorist.
Yeah, like fascist organizations. It's like, oh my God, or hate groups.
They also fund Planned Parenthood. There's a surprise.
Yeah.
And the National Organization for Women. Now, the other thing is, there's several. Then they influence U.S. elections. I find it beyond the pale that he spent, George Soros personally spent over $23 million to try and make sure that George W. Bush didn't get reelected. Now, can you imagine the night he got reelected?
Oh, no.
Yeah. 23.5 million.
He was
bucks.
probably like...
So much for that. Yeah.
He was probably half into like a bottle of something.
He once wrote, insofar as there are collective interests that transcend state boundaries, the sovereignty of states must be subordinate to international law, international institutions. He doesn't like American sovereignty. Media Matters, he started that. And the interesting thing about that, I didn't know this. They're a 501c3. What exactly, you can't do political action as a 501c3. Is it illegal to do that?
Well, they call themselves a watchdog group.
Yeah, watchdog. MoveOn.org, George Soros, what more do you need to say about that? Center for American Progress, environmental extremist, that whole America Coming Together group, $20 million again in that group to defeat President Bush. And then the big one, actually the second big one, currency manipulation. Literally, this man has destroyed countries, their currency, and then so that he could buy short, you know. Literally destroyed countries.
Right, that's how he makes money.
Yeah. You know, put people out of work and bread lines and all that stuff. It doesn't bother him in the least bit.
That's why he now has more money than God.
Exactly. But my favorite one is delusions. Soros actually sees himself, he said this, sees himself as a god. He actually has said that. He's always seen himself as a god. He's a raving lunatic, but he's a very smart raving lunatic. I don't know, I probably need more tea. That's okay.
You need some
tea and pie.
Ricola, too.
Tea and pie. Do you bring Ricola? Ricola.
Well, yeah. I'm running out, though.
But you don't have a problem.
Yeah, but it could happen any time. I can't be without my Ricola.
Fine. You think it'll happen between now and getting to a store? Never mind. It's fine. I don't mind. I'll suffer. I can suffer. I suffer for my art. I don't have a problem. You know, has it ever occurred to anybody, why doesn't some really intelligent station manager pick us up?
That is a very, very prescient question. I don't know the answer. We've actually gotten emails to that effect.
I know that. I wrote them. But that's the point.
No.
I would just think that at some point, someone would go, hey, we have hundreds, 10 listeners, but they all like us.
That's not true. We have hundreds of listeners.
That is true. Actually, it is. It's not like when we're on the station.
The other place.
The station. Oh, how quickly they abandon us.
Yeah.
Go from big audience to, your mother. Is your mother listening?
Yeah.
Oh, hi. That'd be double our audience. We're going to have to go pretty quick here. When we come, when the music comes up, but it's interesting that we have a Republican president, Congress, Senate, governorships and all that, Supreme Court, and we still are getting battered on the Second Amendment. We're still getting our nose bloodied on this thing. So when we come back, we're going to talk about Second Amendment a little bit and other stuff. All that and more when we return with more on Target Radio.
Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, plus get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474, and let's explore the possibilities together.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join like-minded friends supporting the right to keep and bear arms in Illinois at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
We got coming up at the next meeting is the mayor at next ISR Grassroots meeting, Will County Grassroots, the mayor of Shanahan, which is Missy. I can't think of her last name.
Schumacher? I can't remember.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think it might be.
And did I tell you who else?
No.
I didn't.
No.
The mayor of Joliet, Odekirk.
Oh, okay.
Is coming in. Yeah.
Okay.
It turns out he's an old friend of Judge Carlson. And,
yeah.
Carlson said, "You want me to get him?"
They look like they could be frat brothers, actually.
They may well have been. They were law partners.
So you decided not to get an administrator?
Well, I had Missy, who's very nice, and it's a smaller town. I thought, Yeah. And then when I went to lunch with Carlson, and I was telling him this because I asked, I want him to be the judge in the one we got coming up in a couple of months. And I told him, he said, "Well, what do you got going now?" I told him what we had going now, and I'm looking for a second guy. He goes, "You want Odekirk?" And I go, "Mayor of Joliet?" He goes, "Yeah, he was my law partner." I go, "You think he'll do it?" He goes, "Yeah, he'll do it." He's a politician, of course he'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's like, well, most likely doesn't have anything better to do. So.
Well, that's it, yeah. But anyway, we're going to, I think we have worked out the problem on the really bad, the sound thing.
Okay.
Not for the people in the room yet, but for the recording.
We'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out, and it
should work.
I didn't say should. I said we will figure it out.
There you go.
I'll say it for him. It should work.
It should work.
Thank you.
Second Amendment rights still under attack. It's this is it's discouraging. It really is. Here is a grandfather. This is in the state of Michigan, and I don't recollect. I don't think it said what happened to his daughter. I think it was, wasn't it? But in any event, they have a young grandson and who needed a home. And so this disabled Marine Corps veteran and his wife said, "Is our grandson? We'll take him." And
actually, the state asked him.
Initially,
asked
right,
them, the
right.
grandparents, to foster the kid.
Right.
And then they said.
Yeah, and then when he went.
Oh, by the way.
When he went in to do it, they asked him for the serial numbers of all his firearms. And the thing that really stuck out in my mind about this is if that's not bad enough.
Right.
The social worker said it's one or the other.
Yeah,
take the kid or take the
people
guns.
involved in this are self-incriminating. They're allegedly one of the caseworkers said, if you want to care for your grandson, you will have to give up some of your constitutional rights.
And then this is
a county court judge made an equally egregious statement telling them, "We know we are violating numerous constitutional rights here, but if you do not comply, we will remove the boy from your home."
So here's a judge who has sworn to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Yes.
Admits that he's violating the Constitution of the United States. What could be wrong with that?
It's inconceivable.
There's still a pervasive atmosphere of gun hate.
Yeah.
Saw the Australians. We should have our friend in Australia come back on. They did another roundup.
Oh, did they?
They did.
Oh, geez.
And it had basically no effect whatsoever. Yeah. It's.
I can't even imagine that anybody who still had a gun or who had subsequently obtained a gun after the first one, why would they why would they turn it in? Yeah, I mean, it's like if the first one, if they got like 100,000 guns collected, the second one is like 100.
But you know, here's what I think.
And like they don't work.
the minister actually even said this when he was on the show. It's not America.
Right.
It's not the U.S.
Yeah, he said we don't have a Second Amendment.
Well, it's not even that. I mean, that's true. but the point he was making is their culture is not our culture. Right. They're the people, well, not them.
They were criminals.
But they're the people who we came to America to get away from.
Sort of.
Religious persecution. And, well, they were British originally.
Right,
now they're
exactly.
a sovereign nation. But
you would think a penal colony would know how to hang on to their guns.
You know, I once asked my brother-in-law, who's Jewish, I said, I don't understand, particularly if you look at the Israelis. I said, I do not understand why it is that so many people in the Jewish community are anti-gun. And I said, everything that Jews have been through over history, I think I'd be armed to the teeth if I were Jewish.
Right.
And he goes, the only thing that we distrust more than government are citizens. And there it was. I just, and you know, all this talk.
Then on the other hand, I'm not sure that he is a shining representation of Jews in general.
No, he's not. Pretty much not a shining representation of anything.
That's what I'm saying. Is you know, he's like basically our least favorite Jew.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. It's interesting that there continues to be so much anti-gun, not only rhetoric but actual attempts, even in Illinois. I mean, there's a constant barrage of new laws they're trying to pass. Mostly they're unsuccessful. But the interesting thing is some of them are in direct violation of a Supreme Court decision. I mean, they're just thumbing their nose.
Right.
They literally are.
Yeah.
To this day, does Chicago have a gun store?
No.
I don't think they do yet.
No.
Although legally they are supposed to be able to.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, I mean, it costs so much money to open a gun store. Who would want to put that kind of money into Chicago? Like knowing that you could be shut down at any moment.
When Rhonda Ezell won the first time, which is several years ago, I don't remember who I was talking to. Somebody. I looked down and I said, Michigan Avenue. Can you imagine
That'd be awesome.
Could you imagine putting, like where Apple is, putting in a gun store on a range on the Magnificent Mile?
Right.
Oh my God, you would make $1 billion. People would go insane.
And you would have picketers every day.
More publicity. More publicity.
No, I know, but it's just, ugh. I just remember when we were down there that one time and the fur protesters were down there. Like, ugh. It just makes you want to cross over to the other side of the street and walk by. You know what I mean? And that's what I would be afraid of.
If one of those people ever threw red paint on me, I would just beat them to a frickin'
Well, you don't wear fur. Okay,
I
how about
if
they throw red paint on me?
Well, I would defend you, of course.
Okay.
Of course I would. You doubt that?
Yeah.
Did you say yeah?
You're kind of Mr. Self-Preservation.
Well, yeah.
See?
That's why I'm here. I've been through wars. I've done all kinds of stuff. If I were like, well, I don't care if I die, I wouldn't be here now. That's really kind of a dumb thing to say, don't you think?
I don't know.
No comment.
I always, except for the fact that I'm so small, I would be very ineffective as a human shield. I just always kind of picture you using me as a human shield in a firefight.
I don't even know where this comes from. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know where this comes from. When we go to
It comes from being a police officer. I don't trust anybody.
When we go to all these functions, you always say to me, I'm the bodyguard tonight.
Well, yeah. Okay, not always, but occasionally. My position or my outfit is not conducive to
And so I'm the guy.
Carry. Yeah.
Have I ever said only if I can stand behind you?
No.
Well,
not to my face.
First of all, if I stood behind you, no one
It
would
wouldn't
probably
help.
notice. Yeah.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
You block out my belt buckle. That'd be about it.
I might cover a 10-inch pie plate.
Might. Heavy emphasis on the word might. Yeah. The other thing here that I found real interesting is, because I want to make sure I get to this before the end of the segment, the sheriff.
Yeah.
This is Texas, and I probably wouldn't even have to tell you that after I tell you what happened. They've had Hurricane Harvey, and it's been devastating. It's been terrible, and particularly this sheriff's county was hit pretty hard, Fort Bend County. But what he says is really priceless. He goes, I made a comment the other day that we support the Second Amendment here in Fort Bend County. Now I'm going to do this right.
Yeah, you got to do it right.
Yep. And there are many of us that are armed. I would caution those that want to come and prey on our people here in Fort Bend County that are suffering so much right now. You may want to stay out of Fort Bend County because you could leave this county in a bag. I just think.
He couldn't keep a straight face.
You can't. I mean, that's really great. Here's a sheriff who doesn't only support concealed carry and the right to bear arms. He's saying, you come into my county, you mess with my people.
Y'all might leave me in a bag.
Did Tom Dart ever say that? I can't remember.
No.
No, I don't think he did.
Pretty sure no.
No.
Let me Google that. No.
No. I'll tell you what, though. I remember in this very county, a state's attorney from the opposite side of the aisle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's fake. He's a dino.
Well, that's probably, there may be a certain level of truth to that. But I remember him saying on more than one occasion, publicly, before we had concealed carry, that if you're a law-abiding citizen and you get arrested and you have a concealed firearm, I'm not prosecuting.
Yeah, he said, I'm not interested in prosecuting law-abiding citizens for exercising their Second Amendment rights.
That's I bet that won him a lot of points at the Sheriff's Association. But well, actually, though, most you know what, most deputies are not anti-gun.
Well, and that's what I say in our classes. I say, no, he has no control over what the sheriff and his deputies do.
They can arrest anybody they want.
Right. So you may still get written for it. Right. You may get arrested. You may get charged. But they're not interested in prosecuting you. Well, you still have an arrest and a charge on your record.
Well, and here's the thing a lot of people don't understand. If he left office and the statute of limitations hadn't expired, the next guy could very well prosecute.
They could go back and do it.
Sure.
Yeah, and they could dig that out of the recycle bin.
Yep. We got another good one coming up. It's a shame because we're getting to the end of our show. But we're going to talk about a college professor who is taking concealed carry in the classroom ridiculously seriously. So when we return, we'll talk about this whack job and a few other odds and ends, and you have some stuff that you can
I have quite a bit of stuff.
So we're going to do all that when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checker Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checker Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances to just a night out with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life. Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
Chance to make up your mind to join me at the 4th Annual Constitutional Rights Fundraiser to benefit the Illinois State Rifle Association on Thursday, September 14th at the Clarion Hotel in Joliet. You must purchase your tickets in advance. The deadline to reserve a seat is Wednesday, September 6th. David Keene, former NRA president, and Dan Proft of AM 560 will speak. Individual tickets are $50. Sponsorships, ad book spaces, and promotional tables or booth spaces are all available for your business or political campaign. Contact Steve Ballich or Gretchen Fritz for more information or to reserve your space. You can also buy tickets online. I put all this and our contact information on Facebook earlier today. Join On Target Radio at the Fox Valley Area Friends of NRA fundraiser on Saturday, September 16th at Gaslight Manor in Aurora at 4 p.m. The filet mignon dinner starts at 6:30. Individual tickets are $50 and can be purchased in advance at friendsofnra.org. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman. Saturday, September 23rd, Long Range Rifle, taught by Ed Janka. Also, Saturday, September 23rd, NRA Range Safety Officer, taught by David. Saturday, September 30th, NRA Pistol Instructor, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, October 7th and 8th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on Register.
I'm eagerly looking forward to the Fox Valley Friends of the NRA dinner. I always enjoy doing that.
Okay.
Fine. I just do.
I think I'm going to bring a fur coat this year. I freeze
the one you wear on the range?
No, I'll wear the dressy one.
Oh, okay.
I'll wear my dress mink, not my work mink.
There you go.
I always freeze my took-us off in that room. And then
it is chilly.
And then they try to feed us ice cream. I'm like, really?
See, I go and turn the thermostat down, so you be cold and won't eat the ice cream. So
I wouldn't eat the ice cream anyway.
Well, maybe
it's like low-quality vanilla ice cream. I will always give you my ice cream.
Great. So anyway, George. So
hopefully you won't use me as a human shield.
I wouldn't. You wouldn't. Look, let's face it. You might stop at 22.
Yeah, I wouldn't be very helpful.
That'd be about it.
It wouldn't be very helpful.
We didn't mention, as you point out when we were on break, about Bloomberg, and a woman who I find it ironic that her name is Ranta.
Ranta.
Yeah, because she's clearly on a rant. But she was part of Bloomberg's machine and is not a happy camper and is sort of talking out of school. I don't know that this is a big surprise to anybody, to be honest with you.
I was reading it going, yeah, what else is new?
Exactly. I mean, basically, he portrays it as a grassroots. That's what they call it.
Right.
But according to her and according to logic, it's totally top down.
Right.
It
I mean,
controls
that's the point of this article is that, you know, the first time I saw it in here, I was like, and what else is surprising? You know, they're like, oh, it's actually AstroTurf, you know, is the new terminology for that. I'm like, yeah, and who didn't know that? But maybe there's somebody that didn't know that.
Yeah, I honestly, quite honestly, didn't honestly see a whole lot to that story.
When you say things like that, doesn't that mean that you're lying? Like
Probably.
when you
Probably does. Yeah. The professor. Having been a professor for quite a few years, I can relate to this just in general. There is a professor. This is at the University of Kansas.
Yeah, you're going to have to do this one is written so poorly I couldn't even get through it.
See, this is like stopping at McDonald's to eat something when you're hungry. It's carving out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I couldn't.
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I tried to read it. I was like, I just can't.
So here's the thing. Kansas has concealed carry, and they have opened it up to educational institutions, universities. Students can carry, well, anybody can carry concealed, and the University of Kansas. There is a professor, who of course is an expert because he's a professor.
Expert on everything.
Exactly. Who hypothesizes that the presence, knowing that there's a presence of a firearm in a classroom, will have a chilling effect on freedom of speech.
Okay.
Which has never happened anywhere else, but, you know, I would think it would be more to do with the professor than it would to
Well, right, exactly. It has more to do with the grade you might get if you disagree with the professor.
By far, I would be more worried about the grade.
I will give a lot of credit to my liberal arts college that I went to. Is I regularly disagreed with liberal professors, and I always got A's.
When I was at Illinois during the big, you know, heyday of protesters in the early 70s, there were clearly a lot of faculty who were liberal. They were, you know, but no one, to the best of my recollection, in an academic setting, out on a quadrangle was a different issue, but I can't recall any professor. I can recall some of them disagreeing with what I said, but never trying to prevent me from saying it. Illinois was still pretty much a breeding ground for opinion.
Sure.
That's totally changed.
Yeah, I don't know about, you know, all schools. I mean, there are some schools I have a sense of what goes on there, but yeah.
It's totally changed. It really has. But anyway, so this professor is voicing or imaging his opinion by wearing a flak vest to class. Now, let's just put aside for a brief moment the stupidity of such a thing, because nobody really gives a rat's butt whether he wears it or not. It's not going to make a difference. But let's get to the sort of sheer ignorance. First of all, flak vests don't stop bullets. They stop shrapnel. A bullet will go through it like a hot knife through butter. I wore one in Vietnam pretty much every day. Not quite, but pretty much. They're not bulletproof vests, which, by the way, aren't particularly bulletproof either.
They're not really bulletproof either, yeah.
They are for a lot of handguns, but certainly not for long gun. But anyway, so this guy's going to class every day wearing a body armor, or not even that, flak vest. And he thinks that this is going to influence somebody to change the law. See, only in academia do people think that way. I'm really smart, and you'll do what I want. Did you see this picture, by the way? Probably not. You haven't seen this. I didn't copy the picture and put it in. He's some old guy, you know.
Really?
I bet money's on he was a 70s protester.
No, see, that's funny because I assumed he was like 30-something, 40-something.
Yeah, no, he's not at all. and he's wearing camis. And he looks utterly ridiculous. I mean, he's like a cartoon character.
He's wearing camis, like a little camisole.
No,
with
camouflage.
lace.
Camouflage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, camouflage.
I thought maybe he was one of those other guys. You know what I mean?
No. Well, maybe he is. I don't know.
I thought maybe he dressed in women's
more
clothing.
and more women. Well, more and more women are wearing camouflage. Could
That's
be.
true.
It could be.
That's a fact.
He went on also. He was talking about 44 Magnum and concealed carry, which most people who have a spine that is not bent yet would not be probably carrying 44 Magnum. But, what does he know? But he says, I hope by wearing the vest, this is a constant reminder to all of us that our students could have a gun, and in an emergency, this could make a bad situation even worse. The Reverend Michael Pfleger. How does this guy get involved with the University of Kansas? Because he's an idiot. The Reverend Michael Pfleger, of St. Sabina Church in Chicago, says that handguns have become a part of the American wardrobe.
And?
I wish they had. I would certainly hope that were the case.
And your point is?
Illinois is actually disappointing if you think about it. Have you looked at the latest number for concealed carry?
I haven't seen one lately, no.
I haven't either. It was about 300, wasn't it? About 300,000, somewhere in there?
Yeah. I think we have passed 300,000.
I think we have. And there are how many FOID cards in the state?
2 million.
There's a small difference there.
There's a large difference.
Yeah. It's disappointing. Anyway, this whole concept that having a gun would put a damper on free speech, if anything, the truth is having a gun would lubricate free speech because it would prevent those psychos,
Well, for us, it would facilitate it.
But here's the thing. See, it's interesting you say that.
Right, exactly, because they're only interested in the chilling effect it's going to have on liberal free speech, not conservative free speech. They don't give a rat's ass about that.
When is the last time a conservative college refused to let someone express a liberal point of view?
I can't remember a time.
I can't ever remember a time that happening.
It doesn't happen.
They may make fun of them. They may go in the audience and throw the bird at them and make fun of them.
Right,
but they don't go, oh, you can't come on campus or we'll burn it down.
Right.
No, but yet they call us fascists because they don't know what the word means.
Raymond thinks that the reason there's not very many concealed carry licenses in Illinois yet is the cost of it. It's about $1,000.
That's exactly. That's.
If you don't start out with a gun and a holster that you're going to use,
you're looking at about $1,000.
It's about $1,000. We sat down, we figured it out, and obviously, the cost of guns and the cost of holsters varies. The cost of classes varies.
Yep.
And sometimes people get sometimes people get the holster thing right on the first try, but most people don't.
Often, really, one holster typically isn't going to work for everything. Anyway.
And there's, as time goes on, you may find a better solution. I wore this for a couple of years, but now I think this other thing is going to work better. We talk to other concealed carry people, we get different ideas and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's $1,000 roughly plus, but yeah, it's not a cheap hobby.
That reminds me, I've had a couple people, ex-students and things, call me or email me, one or the other, about the thing that the NRA had in Milwaukee.
Oh yeah.
And saying that it really was really good.
I wanted to go, but we were busy.
we couldn't get away. But they chose Milwaukee, and I don't have any inside information, but I can just about guarantee they chose Milwaukee to take USCCA head on.
Oh yeah, because that's where they're based, is Wisconsin.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to be second. The NRA always has to be first.
Right.
And from what several people have told me, they did a really good job. But the NRA, they always do.
Right. I mean, what would we expect? Right.
Exactly.
What else would we expect from them?
Anyway, we didn't get around to California, but the California nutballs are trying to fight reciprocity. The most interesting thing of all was there's a Democrat, Chris Murphy, from Kentucky, who's actually come out and said, you can't blame Trump for doing what he said he was going to do.
Actually, CT is Connecticut.
Yeah. Oh, Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, frustrated Democrat says we can't impeach Trump for doing what he promised.
Yeah. All right, we'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen tonight, and we'd appreciate it if you tell your friends about On Target Radio.
We'd also like to thank our engineer and announcer, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, the Will County chapter of the Illinois State Rifle Association, Yellow Checker of Joliet, my editor, Creative Business Services, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
And finally, we hope that you'll listen next week when we'll be covering more red meat issues that affect your life.